learners, I am Teacher Will and welcome to our General Mathematics subject. For today's video lesson, we will learn to represent real-life situations using functions. Let's start. When you are in junior high school, you already encountered some basic concepts about relation and function. Let's see what you can still remember. A relation is any set of ordered pairs. When we say ordered pair, it is a pair of objects, meaning dalawang elements lang, taken in a specific order. Halimbawa, we have an ordered pair, 2, 4. Yan. So, we have two elements, itong unang element at itong pangalawang element. So, the set of all first elements of our ordered pairs is what we call the domain. And the set of all second elements is called the range. Yes. While a function is a relation. Okay, so yung function daw po is also a set of ordered pairs. But it has a rule of correspondence between your domain and range such that each element in the domain corresponds to exactly one element in the range. So, hindi lahat ng relation natin is a function. Dahil masasabi lang natin na ang relation is a function kapag ang bawat element ng ating domain ay maipapares lang natin sa exactly one element ng ating range. So, we can relate it using a machine. Ayan. Wherein the machine itself is the function rule. So, bawat input natin o bawat domain natin, ang magiging resulta lang po is isang output, which is our range. But dito rin natin ginagamit yung mga symbol nating X at saka Y. Ayan. So, X that will represent the domain and Y will represent the range. Okay? Using a functional notation, we can write, ayan, read as f of X is equal to y. In particular, if we have an ordered pair 2 and 1 associated with the function f, then we say that f of 2 is equal to 1. Okay? So again kasi ang ating domain or yung first element is the x and ang ating range, which is the second element, is the y. Ayan. So we have f of 2 is equal to 1. So we have here an example of a machine that directly converts Fahrenheit measure into Kelvin measure. Again, let's say we have a Fahrenheit measure of -4. So using the machine or the function rule, the output or the conversion is 253.15 Kelvin measure. Okay. Ayan, so you have been refreshed what a function is. So let's proceed now on how we use these concepts of function in representing some real-life situations. Let's have this first scenario. June and May are in a long-time relationship until June realized that he wants to marry May. We're together for the last 7 years and I believe you are my forever. Will you marry me? If I said yes, what could you promise me? I promise to love you forever, to be faithful and loyal to you until my last breath. I love you too and I will marry you. As you can see, we have an ordered pair here, na kung saan ang first element natin is represents June at ang second element natin represents May. There is a relationship of a boyfriend-girlfriend or a husband or wife, wherein June representing the sets of male or husband and May representing the set of male or wife. Mostly in Christian countries like here in the Philippines, each husband, which represents the ex, is faithful and loyal to exactly one living wife. And the wife represents our wife, or vice versa. And therefore, it is a relation that show function. Let's have another scenario. Second scenario, Kim is a naturally born Filipino, but because of her eyes, many people confused if she is a Chinese. Let's see how she responds to her new classmates who are asking if she's a Chinese. Hey classmate, are you a Chinese? No classmate, I was born Filipino and my parents were also pure Filipino. Kim, I thought you are Chinese because of your picture. Haha, many have said that, but my veins run a pure Filipino blood. Hey Kim, can you teach me some Chinese language? I love Chinese, but I'm sorry, I can't teach you because I am a Filipino. I was born Filipino and will die as Filipino. Yan, so kung titingnan nyo dito sa scenario natin na to, our nationality also illustrate a function. Paano? Kasi kapag sinabi nating nationality, ito yung status natin kung saan tayo ipinanganak. This denotes your origin. Since pinanganak si Kim sa Pilipinas, she can never have multiple nationalities except Filipino. So each of us as the domain and our nationality as our range, we are only paired to one nationality. So therefore, nationality illustrates a function. Third scenario. As part of their requirements in a statistics class, Andre made a survey on the religion of his classmates. And here's what he found out. Good morning, classmates. As our requirement is statistics, may I know your religion? This data will be part of my input in the survey that I am doing. According to Anna, she is a Catholic. Kelvin is also a Catholic. Sam is a member of Iglesia Ni Cristo. Joey is a born-again Christian. And while Lani is a Muslim, while Jen is also a Catholic. As you can see, religion is also an example of a function. Dahil nga, bawat isa sa atin ay may isa lang naman na kinikilalang religion. We can never be affiliated with two or more religion. Just like here in the scenario, each student is affiliated to only one religion. Us being the domain and the religion is the range. And so we are only paired to one range. So let's have some more examples of situations that can be represented as functions. And let's have example number 1. If height h is a function of age a, give a function h that can represent the height of a person in h if every year the height is added by 2 inches. Ayan, since every year the height is added by 2 inches, that means the age, which is the a, added by 2 inches will represent the function h of the person's age. Okay? Another example. Example number 2. If distance b is a function of time t, give a function b that can represent the distance a car travels in t time. If every hour the cars travel 60 kilometers. So since every hour the car travels 60 kilometers, we can compute the distance using a function given by d, yan, distance of d, yan, 60 times d. Yan. So, multiply lang natin yung hour, yung time in hour to 60 kilometers. Kaya, halimbawa, 3 hours yung biyahe niya. So, the distance na na-travel niya na is around 180 kilometers because 60 kilometers times 3 hours. Ayan. Example number 3. Ayan. Example number 3. Give a function b that can represent the amount of battery charge of a cellular phone in each hour. If 12% of the battery was lost every hour. Since every hour nababawasan ng 12% yung battery charge ng cellphone natin, then the amount of battery can be represented by a given function b of h. Ayan, ang fully charged natin, syempre, is 100%. Nababawasan ng 12% per hour. Ayan. So, for example, gusto natin malaman kung ilan na ba ang battery charge natin after 3 hours. We will just multiply 3 by 12. So, that will give us 36. I-minus lang natin sa 100 na fully charged. That will give us 64% pa ng battery charge. Ayan. So, ganun lang po yan. Another example. Is example number 4. Squares of side x are cut from each corner of a 10 inches by 8 inches rectangle so that its sides can be folded to make a box without top. Let's define a function in terms of x that can represent the volume of the box. We all know that a volume of the box is length times width times height. And since side x are cut from each corner of our rectangle, therefore yung length na lang po natin will give us 10 minus 2x. Ayan, nabawas ng dalawang x. Kasi since from each side. At gayon din, ang width naman natin is 8 inches minus 2x din. Nabawasan din siya from each side. And since kung i-imagine nyo yun, yung box po natin, ang magiging height niya po ay yung natuping side. Ayan. So, that will give us x. Ayan. So, ito na yung volume of the box that can be represented by the function 10 minus 2x multiplied to 8 minus 2x multiplied to x. Ayan. So, kung isi-simplify po natin yan, ayan, to make it short, that will give us 80x minus 36x squared and plus 4x cubed. Ayan. So, yun na po yung ating function of the volume of the box. Okay? Ayan. So, meron din tayong mga cases na kung saan more than 2 formulas yung gagamit natin to represent a situation. Ayan. So, yun po ay tinatawag nating piecewise function. Ayan. Piecewise function. Ayan. A piecewise function is a function in which more than one formula is used to define the output or yung ating function. Each formula has its own domain, and the domain of the function is the union of all these smaller domains. We notate this idea like this. Ayan. So, ang ating function is equal to, ayan, for example, meron tayong tatlong formula, but it can be more than 3. And but in this case, ayan, let's say tatlong formula. We in the formula 1, if the domain, if x is in the domain 1, ayan, first range of domains. Formula 2, if x is in domain 2. And formula 3, if x is in domain 3. Ayan. There are instances that we need to describe this situation in which a rule or relationship changes as the input value crosses a certain boundaries. And in those cases, we need to apply this piecewise function. Ayan, let's have an example para mas maintindihan natin. Here, a user is charged 250 pesos monthly for a particular mobile plan, which includes 200 free text messages. Messages in excess of 200 are charged 1 peso each. Represent the monthly cost for text messaging using the function P of M, where M is the number of messages sent in a month. Ayan. So, paano ko nasabi na gagamitin ito ng piecewise function? Ayan. So, hindi kasi palagi na monthly ang babayaran po natin is 250 pesos. Ayan. Kapag daw kasi nag-excess yung messages mo ng 200, you will be charged 1 peso each. Ayan. So, iba yung pagbabayad mo kung hindi ka nag-excess sa 200 at iba din yung bayad mo kapag nag-excess ka sa 200 messages. At yun po yung dalawang formula na gagawa natin to represent this situation. Ayan. So, kaya gagamit po tayo ng piecewise function. Ayan. So, ang ating function po is T of M. Ayan, T of M. And equals to, lalagyan po natin siya ng bracket to enclose yung dalawang formula that will represent yung ating P of M. Yan. So, yung unang formula natin, kapag daw po ang messages niya ay hindi naman lalagpas sa 200, ayan, or equal lang sa 200 siya, or below 200 po siya, ang babayaran lang daw monthly, o ang monthly cost lang is 250. Pero kapag ikaw po ay lumagpas sa 200 messages, yung 250 mo ay madadagdagan na ng 1 peso per messages. And ang 1 peso per messages will represent syempre 1 times M, or just simply M na lang po. Ayan. So, ito na yung piecewise function that will represent this situation function P of M. Okay? Another example. Example number 2, a certain chocolate bar costs 50 pesos per piece. However, if you buy more than 5 pieces, they will mark down the price to 48 pesos per piece. Use a piecewise function to represent the cost in terms of the number of chocolate bars bought. So, let's say, ang name ng function natin is C na lang po. Yun yung cost. Ba't tayo masulat? In terms of the number of chocolate bars bought. Ayan. So, yung number of chocolate bars, sabihin na natin letter N. Again, mag-draw tayo ng bracket to enclose yung ating mga formula. Ayan. Medyo pangit yung bracket ko. Okay na yan. Ayan. If ang number of chocolates na bibilhin natin ay nasa 5 piraso lang naman o pababa, ayan. So, therefore, ang presyo po is 50 pesos per chocolate bar. Yan. Pero kung more than 5 pieces na po yung bibilhan natin, ayan, more than 5 pieces, ang presyo niya na is 48 pesos per chocolate bar. Ayan. So, halimbawa, ang binili natin ay 7 chocolate bar. So, magkano yung total cost nun? That will give us 48 times 7. Yan. Pero kapag 3 lang o less than 5 lang siya or 5 piraso lang, ang presyo niya is 50 pesos each. So, 50 times 3, that will be the total cost of 3 chocolate bars. Okay? And another example. Example number 3, the cost of hiring a catering service to serve food for a party is 250 pesos per head for 50 persons or less. 200 pesos per head for 51 to 100 persons, and 150 pesos per head for more than 100. Represent the total cost as a piecewise function of the number of attendees to the party. Ayan. So, let's say ang ating function is T. Ayan. T kasi total cost, ano? Total cost, ayan. T of N. But let's say yung N po natin is the number of attendees. Ayan. So, meron daw tayong tatlong formula dito na kung saan kapag daw 50 persons or less. Ayan. 50 persons or less. Ayan. Ang babayaran daw po is 250 per head. At kapag naman 51 persons to 100 persons, ayan, 100 persons to 51. At pwede rin naman greater than 50 na lang yan. Ayan. And ang babayaran daw po is 200 pesos per head. At kapag naman more than 100 naman ang attendees, ang babayaran is 150 per head. Ayan. So, yan na yung ating piecewise function that will represent the total cost of hiring a catering service in terms of the number of attendants to the party. That would be our last example. It's now your turn to try by yourself on how we represent real-life situations using functions. Ayan. So, we have here two situations that can represent by a single formula lang naman. Ayan. At dalawang problem din that can be represented by a piecewise function. Ayan. So, actually, dito sa ating dalawang problem na to, kukompletuhin, i-fill up nyo na lang itong mga blanks para makompleta natin yung buong formula ng piecewise function that will represent yung situation dito sa dito sa ating activity. Sagutan ninyo sa activity notebook ninyo for the digital, and for the printed naman, sagutan nyo sa inyong papel. Okay. Alright, so that would be all for our lesson for today. See you on our next lesson. Bye!